my brother. I feel, oh, I feel for my brother. I feel for my brother. Yeah, we in the building, just hang out. We're gonna punch the button at about 4 o'clock, okay? 3:51 right now. 9 minutes, we're gonna blast off. We got a big show today. Big show. I feel like Ed Sullivan. We got a really big show. It's a really big show. You gotta be old enough to know about that.
A lot of my brothers are dead and gone, but they've been hanging on the block a little too long. What can I say? I hope they live to see a brighter day. And the ones that are doing fine, God bless you, cause you're doing fine. At the end of the day, don't forget about me. As days turn to weeks, and weeks turn to years, oh, I feel for my brother. And as time passes by, I see you're not satisfied. Oh, I feel for my brother. Feel for my brother. The street life used to be on, straight up hustling till the break of dawn. Taught me how to do wrong right, everything inside. But somehow things started to change. Try to get us straight up out of the game. You couldn't see what I saw. The empire was starting to fall. And everything that I said never seemed to get into your head. I tried to do the right thing, living my life with the words that I sing. Now tell me, I wanted to know what happened to my best friend. As days turn to weeks, and weeks turn to years, I feel for my brother. Feel for my brother. And as time passes by, I see you're not satisfied. Oh, I feel for my brother. Feel for my brother. I miss you, man. You're my brother. I said I love you, babe. I won't forget you, no. Oh, no, no. Oh, no, no, no. Sometimes I feel life is cheap. Everything's disposable and so are we. Can you hear me? Life is real, yeah. And if there's a heaven above, please start showing a brother real love. Cause I wanna go home. Oh, I feel for my brother. I miss you, man. Oh, I feel for my brother. You're my brother. I feel for my brother. Oh, no, no. Feel for my brother. I wanna go home. I feel for my brother. I won't forget you, no. I feel for my brother. I feel for my brother. I feel, oh, I feel for my brother. I feel for my brother. Oh, I feel for my brother. Feel for my brother. You know, a lot of my brothers are dead and gone, but they've been hanging on the block a little too long. What can I say? I hope they live to see a
Yeah, I'm gonna punch the button in about 5 minutes, y'all. 5 minutes to 4. We on time, man. Wow, all right.
God bless you, cause you're doing fine. At the end of the day, don't forget about me. As days turn to weeks, and weeks turn to years. Oh, I feel for my brother. And as time passes by, I see him not satisfied. Oh, I feel for my brother. Feel for my brother. The street life used to be on, straight up hustling till the break of dawn. Taught me how to do wrong right, everything inside. But somehow things started to change. Try to get us straight up out of the game. You couldn't see what I saw. The empire was starting to fall. And everything that I said never seemed to get into your head. I tried to do the right thing, living my life with the words that I sing. Now tell me, I wanted to know what happened to my best friend. As days turn to weeks and weeks turn to years, I feel for my brother. Feel for my brother. And as time passes by, I see it unsatisfied. Oh, I feel for my brother. Feel for my brother. I miss you, man. You're my brother. I said I love you, babe. I won't forget you, no. Oh, no, no. Oh, no, no, no. Sometimes I feel life is cheap. Everything's disposable and so are we. Can you hear me? Life is real, yeah. And if there's a heaven above, please start showing a brother real love. Cause I wanna go home. Oh, I feel for my brother. I miss you, man. Oh, I feel for my brother. You're my brother. I feel for my brother. Oh, no, no. Feel for my brother. I wanna go home. I feel for my brother. I won't forget you, no. I feel for my brother. I feel for my brother. I feel. Oh, I feel for my brother. I feel for my brother. Oh, I feel for my brother. Feel for my brother. You know, a lot of my brothers are dead or gone, but they've been hanging on the block a little too long. What can I say? I hope they live to see a brighter day. And the ones that are doing fine, God bless you, cause you're doing fine. At the end of the day, don't forget about me. As days turn to weeks and weeks turn to years, oh, I feel for my brother. And as time passes by, I see you're not satisfied. Oh, I feel for my brother. Feel for my brother. The street life used to be on, straight up hustling till the break of dawn. Taught me how to do wrong right, everything inside. But somehow things started to change. Try to get us straight up out of the game. You couldn't see what I saw. The empire was starting to fall. And everything that I said never seemed to get into your head. I tried to do the right thing.
All right, Crystal, we about to blast off.
Okay.
Now tell me, I wanted to know what happened to my best friend. As days turn to weeks and weeks turn to years, I feel for my brother.
Okay, let's get it started. Word up. Okay. Woo. Oh, that was a quick switch on me right there. You know what I'm saying? That's having a good time. We want to welcome you once again. It is the One Nighter Show that we do every Sunday. Every Sunday we do this thing at 4 o'clock. You know, some Sundays we're a little late, but you know what? We started at 4 o'clock today. We had some travel issues. If you're taking the R train, big shout out to you. You might want to start out a little bit earlier if you're rocking the R train. There's a lot of problems on the R train. I heard the N train's running funky too. So make sure if you have to go to work and you're listening, add some extra time to your day. All right, so it's going down. Sunny day in New York City. Is it still sunny? I've been in the basement for a hot minute. Is it still sunny?
Yes, sir. Still sunny out there. Nice, beautiful day.
Beautiful day. So it's a sunny day in New York City.
Off. You got clothes off.
Where we at? About 55 degrees? Where we at?
Yeah, let's see. 50, 61.
There you go.
Went up, 61.
61 degrees.
Springtime is here.
61 degrees in New York City, and we're a week away from spring, y'all.
One night weather. We are inventive, for real.
Let me tell you.
Like no other, right?
Like no other, baby. Come on.
Do what we do. Do what we do.
All right, so I'm giving you all a chance to get into your chat rooms and everything. You know, same program. You know how we do. And I'm gonna hit the button. I'm gonna hit the button. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and who got it here? What is me? You know I'm deaf. All right, what's up? Yeah, so welcome to the One Nighter Show, and we're here again. It's another week. We got a special guest, and I know you can see on the screen. I'm just gonna say, hi, Crystal.
Hi. How's everybody doing? Thank you for having me.
We are doing good, and I just wanted to acknowledge you that you was on the screen, and we'll get to you in a minute, okay?
Not a problem. I'll be here.
Because you know this show is all about you. Once we get involved in the show, so you're going to talk about everything. So yeah, man, it's been a big week. You know, my week has been, you know, it's been a week. You know, we went and got a printer, so that was important. Went and got a printer. That Hot 97 thing is transitioning very nicely with the Justice Clapback and Reverend John Foy. You know, Kirsten John Foy, and we just finished the conversation, which is a Hip Hop Boulevard, and we had the legendary Sal Albatello, you know, on talking about stuff. So talking about the history of Fever Records and everything. So it was really good. You know what I'm saying? And that was kind of what my week is. Today, we're going to have a guest engineer, right? And our guest engineer is Mike Jones.
Mike Jones, right? Yeah. He's done it before a little bit.
Right? So he knows how to get around on it.
He's slipping in.
So he's going to slip in. You know what I'm saying? So Saundrea, how was your week?
Man. My week was busy and blessed. I had surgery on my hand on Monday. Thankfully, all is well. I was still out finishing up. I'm not hearing you.
It's just me.
Okay.
I'm just trying to figure out where that noise is coming from. That's
all right. So continue.
Yeah.
Okay. So really? Okay, because I'm hearing myself, but I'm not. So it's a little lower. So, but you got that noise down?
I think so.
It's still a little low, but can y'all hear me? Good?
Okay.
All right. So it's not as powerful. See, then you're getting that little, so you're figuring that out. Okay. So so as I said, I had surgery on Monday. Just still checking on people. I'm still out in the street right after surgery, you know, getting my medication and everything and checking on people, making sure they're good, dealing with the pain. Did mass distribution with my council member, Ben Kalos, on Thursday with his team. So then, you know, the week zooms in. So Saturday, I met with a few faith-based leaders that are coming alongside the Holmes Isaacs Coalition to see that we, you know, helping us with food distribution and stuff like that. So we had a very nice planning meeting. It was like 2 hours at the Delizia restaurant on the Upper East Side. And I was on the, you know, Carolyn Maloney's doing these 12 congressional district caucus with the mayoral candidates. So she called me personally yesterday. We had a nice little talk. Wanted to make sure I was on. She liked the questions I asked the candidates last time. She wanted to make sure I was back on to press them on public housing. So yesterday we were on with Maya Wiley, which was good. And, you know, I questioned about how she's going to, you know, help maintain and keep our homes without privatization. And she pledged to put $2 billion into NYCHA.
I heard that.
And she also stated there's funds that were available and that can be shifted to NYCHA. And, you know, she spoke about Lydia Velasquez's bill, which she totally supports. So that was good. Today we were with Catherine Garcia, which was very interesting. I made it clear that most of the residents and our allies are against privatization, which includes, whoever doesn't know, infill, RAD, PAC, Blueprint, and any other privatization schemes, right? So I questioned her, and my question was basically, are you committed to listening, you know, to listen to the residents and our allies to keep public housing public without privatization? And she flat out says she supports the Blueprint, which people know. She spoke about that. And then when I queried her about the eviction rates in Ocean Bay, she tried to, you know, say, well, but the evictions are normal. And she actually cited somebody that was dealing drugs in an apartment. And that was her best part
and
about
Maya. This is Maya.
No. I'm into today with Catherine Garcia. And I was like, that was just so, you know, kind of weak. Just that was your site, you know, to us to tell the forum that's why one person, you're citing one person. What about the other multitudes of people? She couldn't even talk about that. But she's a well-oiled machine and not. But anyway, today is day 293 straight since June 2nd, Upper East Side for Black Lives Matter. Next Sunday will be our 300th day. Our guest speaker will be no other than the Reverend Gregory Seal Livingston. And with him, he usually is our guest speaker on Saturdays. But, you know, I'm one of the organizers. I had a conversation with him. I said, would you mind doing the 300th day? And he was basically like, I'm honored. So we're going to give him Saturday off and move him to Sunday. Thank goodness he doesn't have to preach. So on tomorrow, I'm preparing for a social justice committee meeting, which I'm one of the co-chairs on the community board, and we will be discussing police reform input from the community. That's our first item of agenda. So that's really exciting. And on Tuesday, I will be receiving with other great women, the Woman of Distinction Award presented by Assemblywoman Rebecca Seawright. You can give me some. You can give me some, man, on the board.
Do the beat there?
Something, yeah, that's good. And then Wednesday, can you put up the flyer? And then we'll transition into Stan, but I'm just going to talk and then Stan will talk about it a little bit. Can you pull up the flyer? But anyway, on Wednesday, great organizations and organizers and allies that are consistently doing the fight to keep public housing public. Stan and myself are included amongst this group of people. We are just, you know, trying to make sure we can keep public housing public and fighting the good fight. And, you know, you have people that are going to be there that are, of course, with the Green New Deal, working with legislation and supporting other bills to help generate the funding. So I'm just thankful. I thank God for, you know, these great things and assignments. And that's how this lady week was. Go ahead, Stan.
Wow, that was really busy. There was a lot going on.
With surgery, right?
Right. Yeah, I just want to say a big shout out to all the organizations that are coming together on Tuesday for this rally. I was actually out in Queensbridge on Saturday, putting up flyers in Korean, Chinese, and English, you know, all throughout the development. So we are expecting a nice crowd to come out, and it's great when the coalitions can work together. It's not always easy. It's hard, but this is how we build a citywide movement to really build power. It's going to take all of us working together. There's not one organization that's going to be able to do this fight by itself, you know. So all of us need to work together and pull together.
That's what it's about.
Also, today I did my first campaign event. You know, I was actually back out in Queensbridge again.
Nice.
Big shout out to PSL, the Party for Socialist Liberation, who's backing my campaign. So out in Queensbridge, rapping to the folks and letting people know what my campaign's all about. Got a couple of signatures for volunteers. You know, got some flyers, handing out some flyers.
Go Stan.
You know, we in full campaign mode. I'm going to be actually hitting Ravenswood and Astoria houses and the developments that I'm familiar with and known in, and put the flyers up and get the flyers in stores and really get the word out about this campaign. So I'm really excited about that. And I'll be here Tuesday. This is really big, you know, to really let folks know that we're not going to take it. So everybody should come join us, whether you live in NYCHA or not. There's a fight for affordable housing. There's a fight for just pure justice. And so come and join us. Come and fight. We need everybody there supporting this cause. so we can stop these privatization schemes and scams.
Thank you.
That Greg Russ continues to come out with. So
Yeah.
and also support my campaign, StandForQueens.nyc.
Okay.
Independent campaign.
Yeah.
I believe the Democrats have sold us out. I believe Republicans have sold us out. So we need to go on our own, develop our own, and we need to vote in local elections. We just can't show up for the general stuff and vote for Biden or Trump or this one or that one. Most of the issues in your life are affected by your local politicians. So get involved in my campaign and other campaigns. Support us independent candidates and us grassroots candidates. Those who are building it from the ground up. So donate, and support. And let's build something different. That was my week.
We're awesome. And there's a big percentage of independents in the country, and people are sleeping on that.
And there's a big, I just saw today, it's a big percentage of independents in Queens.
It's huge.
So
people are wavering away from the general establishment.
Right, we're going to shock the world.
Let's hear from since the camera's still over there, let's hear from our intern. Say hello to the people and introduce yourself again.
Hi, my name is Nakama Prier.
Mm-hmm.
And I go to Queens College, my last semester.
Okay.
Graduating.
Beautiful.
In June. And I'd like to, I'm liking this interning here at One Night Show.
Awesome. We love having you. Let's go to Money Mike.
Big Mike, what's going on?
Money Mike, how was your week?
My week was, it was mixed. I also had a great time, but me and Stan did a few things over in Ravensburg. Handed out some flyers for Justice for All and let them know that they're having a meeting on Monday at 6:30. So, and if anybody else want to join that meeting, they could join that meeting. Y'all can hit up Stan, find a little Zoom link, and he would send it right to y'all. We was going through a few buildings, well, actually one building, and it was, when I say it was messy, it was filthy. I mean,
yeah.
The staircase was so filthy that, I mean, every stair that we went down was filthy. If I
during the pandemic, right?
Right.
Nobody's cleaning it.
If I would have ran down those stairs or even went a little bit faster, I would have fell and bust my behind, my head open. That's how ridiculous the staircase was.
Wow.
The elevator was messy as well, but apartments, they had a lot of complaints. People had paint falling off their walls. I mean, it was ridiculous. They had pipes busting, and they had some people had a lot of bugs, like, they were saying they had bed bugs, or they had, a bunch of rodents or roaches, and maintenance always tell them, every time they come, they be like, call the number, and you can make another ticket, and they don't fix it when they did to fix something else.
Mm-hmm.
When I was a maintenance worker, I had if it was a problem that they had, and I was doing it, and I was there for some other reason, I will fix the problem. I'm a maintenance worker. That's my job. I'm not going to sit there and say, call the number and make another ticket.
Right.
Make another ticket. I'm here. If you have a pipe broken and then you have like a door that need to be fixed, or if you have a door, if I'm going in for a door and you have a little pipe that need to be fixed, or a snake, I would do that right there. I would handle the job.
Absolutely.
I'm not going to sit there and say, make another ticket, and the next one is, 7 weeks later, you still haven't got nothing done.
Yeah.
I mean, me and Stan went to the manager's office with a young lady, and she put 10 tickets in.
Wow.
10 tickets in.
And had the tickets, had her information. She came prepared.
And then they wouldn't even let her speak to the manager. Every time she even called to speak to the manager, they kept coming up with some sort of excuse or hanging up on her. They wouldn't give her the manager. And then when she came there with us to speak to the manager, they still gave her a hard time.
Wow.
I don't understand.
And I find it infuriating. This is Megan Patrick, who is the head of this so-called pilot program in Ravenswood, Queensbridge, and Astoria houses. I'm again going to say that program is a failure, complete failure. She goes down there and gets treated with disrespect, and they pretty much said they won't even talk to me either. They can't talk to me. They won't speak to us. And Knights residents go through this all the time. So I just want to let you guys know you can actually film or record your encounters down in the manager's office. Though you can't film, but you can record. We need to begin recording what actually happens when folks go down there, the blatant disrespect and the brush off.
Right.
We'll call you. That's all they told her. After waiting for maybe about an hour, somebody comes out and says, we'll just give you a call. And I'm still waiting. She's still waiting for that call.
Wow.
So these kind of things need to be stopped and spoken on. And Knights residents, don't stop going down there. Do not be deterred, from those situations. We got to fight back.
Well, now we're going to bring on our guest. So we basically do our week, and then the rest of the show is all about our guests. So today we have the fabulous fiery Crystal Hudson, and she's going to talk and tell you about herself. But I never met Crystal, but I did find her on social media. I'm a person that I look at people and I look at their work. And when I find talent, I used to do, with Gospel Explosions with my church, I would go to different venues and scout people. So basically, I seen what she was doing on social media, looked at her video and everything. I was like, wow, she's phenomenal. And I, DM'd her and asked her, could she come on the show? So we made it happen. So Crystal, welcome. Give us some.
Thank you.
Tell us about yourself, your campaign, why
Yes.
you're running and all of that. Yeah.
Yeah. And thank you for reaching out. I know you just mentioned, we connected via social. I'm really appreciative of that. And I thank you for, giving me the opportunity. I'm Crystal Hudson. I'm running for city council in Brooklyn in the 35th district, which includes the neighborhoods of Crown Heights, Prospect Heights, Fort Greene, Clinton Hill, and a little bit of Bed-Stuy. The 5 NYCHA developments that we have in our district are Farragut, Ingersoll, Walt Whitman, Lafayette Gardens, and Atlantic Terminal, all in the northern end of the district. I'm a third generation Brooklynite. I am the daughter and granddaughter of Jamaican immigrants and Honduran immigrants. So I always say I'm a first generation American, third generation Brooklynite, which really just means I'm the first one in my family born here, but my family has settled in Brooklyn for a very long time. And that's, I'm Brooklyn through and through. So I'm very proud of the fact that I'm born and bred Brooklynite. I'm also the only child of a single mother who has Alzheimer's disease, which is how I got into public service. I worked in sports marketing for over 10 years in a completely unrelated field. And it was through my caregiving experience for my mother that I saw firsthand just how difficult it is. And, this is a lot of the stuff you were just talking about too, right? Like just getting the things that we need, getting the access to resources, services, information, programming, whatever it may be. And the systemic failures that we see time and time again, when we're just trying to get the things that we need. And so that's what got me into public service. I felt like I wanted to make a difference for other people, other families who might be going through something similar. I wanted to have an impact. And also my mother's diagnosis really changed my perspective on life. And it, I wanted to do work that felt more meaningful to me than the work that I had been doing, which felt meaningful to me for a long time. But, I just wanted to serve people. And so I got into public service. I went to work in the city council. I've been in the public advocate's office. So for the last couple of years, I've really, gained experience in city government. I know how city government works. I know how and have seen firsthand how bureaucratic it is and can be. And so really excited to dig into some of these issues and have this conversation with you all today.
Awesome. So I'm just going to ask one question and we're going to bounce around back and forth. So I know with city council, there are committees that you can serve on. What would be the best committee that you see yourself serving on if possible?
I would love to be chair of the land use committee. So but I would love to be chair of the land use committee. I would love to be a member of the land use committee if I'm not chair, including, the subcommittees. The committee on aging is, I mentioned I'm a caregiver for my mother. I think younger people don't talk about seniors enough. We need to be doing a lot more for our seniors. Seniors make up 20% of New York City's population, and only 1% of the city's budget goes towards seniors. So I want to see that gap close. And I think one way to do that is by serving on the Committee of Aging. Also, education committee, I'd be open to public housing as well. There's so many different committees. I want to make sure I'm a member of the budget negotiation team, which is not a committee per se, but finance committee. I would love to be a member of the finance committee. I think that we need more representation in a lot of these committees that hold real power. If I'm elected, I'd be the first gay Black woman ever elected to the city council. I want to be in the room. I want to be in the room, where these decisions are oftentimes made.
Wow.
Now, I grew up in Lafayette Gardens, so your candidacy is very personal to me. And growing up in Brooklyn in Lafayette Gardens, I saw my entire neighborhood transformed with the building of the Barclays Center, Metro Tech, Atlantic Yards. Meanwhile, Lafayette Gardens and the other housing developments in the district, began to crumble. So what is your view on the development that's happening in Brooklyn? And definitely want to hear your views on that.
Yeah, and I appreciate you saying that. I grew up right behind what's now the Barclays Center. And before I got into public service, one of the questions that I carried with me once I got into public service was, how does an entire community come out against something and it happens anyway? Right. That's exactly what we saw. And, we came out in opposition to the use of eminent domain to displace Black and brown families, Black and Puerto Rican families specifically. And so I've seen exactly what you've seen. Like I mentioned, my family has been in the area for 3 generations. And so over time, we've all seen and experienced firsthand gentrification and displacement. And to your point, also, it's like our people and our communities still don't have what we need. We're still not being invested in, but everybody else is coming in. And we're seeing all the resources going, to the new developments, new schools being built that our kids aren't necessarily getting access to. And that's also one of the many reasons why I launched a Black agenda for New York City. So okay. I don't know, go to my website and check it out, crystalforbk.com/Black agenda. But you can, for me, the Black agenda is all about centering and prioritizing Black people and the Black community, which has never been done, right? And I think that local government in particular is uniquely positioned to undo a lot of the racist and anti-Black policies Absolutely. That we have in place. And we need to talk about it. People don't like to talk about race because it's difficult to talk about, but I'm here to talk about it. And I'm here to help people have these conversations that I think are absolutely necessary. And if we don't really start prioritizing Black people, then we're never going to have anything that we deserve, And I know that when Black people fare well, all people fare well. Right. And so, but when everybody else fares well, it doesn't always guarantee Black people are faring well. So we have to start with Black people. We have to invest in our communities. We have to invest in our children, invest in our schools, our after school programs, in jobs and real job opportunities, not just job training programs and then leaving everybody to figure it out, giving us real job opportunities, union job opportunities, and then making sure that as we get older, we can age safely at home without being forced into nursing homes or other facilities that we've seen are already killing us, right? Through COVID, everything, and making sure that we have truly affordable housing and making sure that we keep our public housing public and that we maintain our public housing stock. But we have to invest in NYCHA. We have to invest in our public housing in a way that we haven't seen, in a very long time.
Wow. Yeah. Let me acknowledge a few people in the room. Greetings, Tamika Max, Map, Cynthia Tibbs is in the room.
Hey. What's going on, y'all?
Lisa M. George, Brenda Temple from Sika. There's a few people in the room that popped in and out. I think Eleanor Bumpers was in there because it said that she was watching with us. Few comments. So, and Kim Tyree's in the building as well.
What's going on, Kim?
Yeah, so some of our regulars, and thank you all for watching and supporting us. Mike, you want to shoot a question before we go to some more rounds of questions? Anything you want to ask, Crystal?
Well, you said that you've been doing this since your mom's, you said, was going through autism.
Sorry,
okay, go ahead.
You're coming in a little bit low for me, but you said,
stay there.
I said, you said you've been doing this as long as your you said your mom's was the one that had autism, right?
Alzheimer's, yeah.
Alzheimer's, right? Did she ain't receive any sort of help or anything?
We've done a lot on our own because there isn't help, right? My mom spent over 40 years as a nurse. 30 of those years she spent at Harlem Hospital caring for New Yorkers. And it felt like when it was time for her to receive care, there was none for her. And I think that for me is, that's why I'm running. That's why I got into public service. I want to make government more accessible to more people. It's not working for us. We've seen, like I said, just what you were talking about at the top of the show, the issues with like putting in a ticket, nobody coming to repair the issue, nobody even addressing the issue. You have people with dozens of tickets, in the system, and nobody is coming to fix the problem. And we are expected to continue just living, with hazardous conditions or mold and lead and like all of those things. And it's the same thing everywhere you look. It's not just in our public housing stock, but it's also, we've seen with the pandemic, right? I think the most recent example I can provide is the vaccine rollout.
Yeah.
We saw our communities were disproportionately impacted by COVID, and then we were under vaccinated. You had the Upper West Side and the Upper East Side vaccinated at rates like 15%, and Black and brown communities in central Brooklyn and in Queens and the South Bronx vaccinated at 5% or lower. And like, why is that? It's because we have these systemic issues that always put us down and do not put us first and don't invest in us and don't start with us, don't think about us. And so that's what I'm trying to change, is to make government actually work for most of us and to work for those of us who are most marginalized, those of us who have the greatest needs. There's no reason why we should have 80,000 people plus sleeping in the shelter system or in the
talk about it.
You know what I mean? So and we can be doing better. We can do better, but I think we just haven't had the people in place to get us there. So
recently had a guest who stated that he was in a homeless shelter for 11 years.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
Alfonso.
It seems like nobody's trying to get or for whatever they doing to treat us like this.
They keep us in the system.
Right. It's money, right?
It's money.
They get
$3,000 per
money.
person. So it's an incentive for you not to come out the shelter.
Money.
It's industry. They're making money off of us being in the shelter.
Right.
Yeah. Talk about it. Yeah. What's your take on, I'm an activist and an organizer. I'm, involved in, Black Lives Matter on the Upper East Side. You're welcome to come out and visit us. We're at Carl Schutz Park on 86 and East End every night since June 2nd. But we're big on, as well as others, abolishing qualified immunity. What is your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'm all for that. I think it has to be done through negotiations with the union. But I'm all for the elimination of qualified immunity. I also want to see the CCRB strengthened so they could actually hold, officers accountable. I have this idea that is not particularly popular because people don't ever really want to touch, pension funds and things like that. But I think if we talk about, the settlement cases that come through every year, I think the New York Times did an article a few months ago towards the end of 2020 about how much money New York City spends on settlements with the NYPD. It's like something like $500 million, right? Imagine if that money was coming out of the police pension fund.
Exactly.
Right.
I think that would change their behavior real quick.
Automatic.
Absolutely.
Automatically.
All
when
of
they
a
can't
sudden,
get their houses and cars and pay for their, their car notes and their mortgage. And yes, definitely.
So I think, we have to think about how do we actually create, because so many people, the way white supremacy and racism and all those systems work, right? People benefit, white people benefit from those systems. So until we get to the place where people can really understand the need for dismantling those systems and where they get to a place where they're willing to give up the power that they have been given generation after generation after generation.
Right.
I think we just have to perhaps provide some sort of, disincentive for particular behavior. Yeah. And so that is, if you get into a police involved shooting or you are stopping and frisking somebody unnecessarily, or, the list goes on and on, if you're engaging in that type of behavior and you're not valuing the lives of your, neighbors and community members, then, and there's a settlement, then that settlement that money should come out of, the pension fund. Why should New York City taxpayers
Exactly.
pay into
The mistake somebody made. Yep.
yeah,
Or transgression. Some of them are not mistakes,
actually,
right?
maybe the
So-
crime.
right, yeah, some of them are crimes, right?
The crime that somebody committed. Yep.
Facts, yeah. Yeah, I actually come from NYPD. I used to supervise payroll. I'm medically retired, and it's. I'm glad that you hit on the CCRB because we actually, for our forum for tomorrow night with the community board, our PowerPoint presentation that's already created, we're touching on CCRB on how to strengthen it because it is weak. And there was an article that came out the other day, and they're saying that the CCRB can't do their investigations effectively because they're not being told by NYPD where these particular people were during the protests. All the kettling and all the stuff they were doing, abusing citizens, exercising their First Amendment right. They're telling CCRB they do not know where these officers were at because of, how they were sent out. That is a bold lie. There's, they have command logs. I worked that agency. There's command logs. There's a whole lot of accountability. There's a roll call. There's a unit that, the borough gets copies of these details. And for them to sit up there and say that and lie to CCRB is unheard of. So we're going to be discussing that tomorrow. But I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah. So I got a question. I guess a two-part question. I always ask every candidate that's running, are you receiving any funds from any of these private developers? That's the first question. And also, how do you think Robert Cornegie did in this seat, and how would you be different?
So I'm running. Actually, Lori Cumbo is the incumbent. I'm not running in Robert Cornegie's seat.
All right.
But no, I'm not taking money from any real estate interests, police unions. I have a pledge actually, or a list of my principles on my website as well, which is also like, we're running a campaign that is built on love and respect for other people. We're building a campaign that has integrity and humility, and that is rooted in positivity. And so all of those things, mean that I'm not taking money from real estate developers. I'm not taking money from police unions or other sort of interests. I'm taking money from the people, right? And the way that people have shown so much support for this campaign is by investing in us, by investing in themselves, really, and investing in our community. That's what campaign donations are. They're not giving me cash. It's investing in the community, investing in the future of our community and the type of leadership that we want to see and that we know we deserve. And then in terms of the incumbent, Lori Cumbo, I worked for Lori. When I first got into public service, I went to work for Lori. I wanted to work, like I said, on behalf of my local community. And so I thought, what better way than to do that, by working in my council member's office. And, I think that Lori has done a lot of really good things for the community, particularly in terms of like the arts and stuff like that. And I think, there have also been some bad decisions that have been made. I think the Bedford Union Armory was one of those, where for me, I believe that public property should remain in the public's hands.
That's right.
And so, that was something, and I see that project as something that's not so different from the Barclays Center,
right,
and Atlantic Yards, and and so I think for me, what's most important is centering community, is bringing community to the table, is making sure that community not just has a voice, but is actually involved in the decision-making process. And so, I think that's where I would do things differently. I also have, a pretty, I would say, like, broad, robust vision for how to engage community, how to engage, my community members. I want to have regular meetings where everything is laid out on the table, where I can say, here are the development projects. Here's the pieces of legislation I'm expected to vote on.
Okay.
Here's all of the different issues. Here's where I'm thinking about allocating funds to, where everybody can come in, and all stakeholders. So I want, union members, community activists, civic organizations, community-based organizations, you know, students, young kids, you know, like everybody at the table, seniors, you know, to say, you know, what they're to voice their opinions, and so that we can make decisions together and collectively.
Right. So now let me ask another question. Why do you think, what is the problem with building affordable housing? Why does Brooklyn have such a lack of affordable housing? What could you do as a city council person to change that?
There are a lot of reasons why we don't have any affordable housing. I think the mayor's, you know, housing plan was a terrible one. When you put out a plan that basically says only 20% of the city will actually be affordable, but 80% of the city is going to be, you know, essentially for the wealthy, right? And then that 20% is not even actually affordable. Right. That 20% is a farce. You know, it's saying that it's affordable, but we know that the people with the greatest needs are within the 0 to 30% or even up to 50 and 80% area median income bracket, right? But then you're building for people at 100, 120% AMI. And so then nothing is affordable. I think another problem is that nobody wants to build anything on their block. You know, we always say, everybody knows we have a housing crisis. Everybody knows we need to build housing. But then when you say, here's a project that could be 100% affordable, and we're going to put it on your block, everybody's like, oh, well, hold on a minute. Well, you know, let's talk about that, right? Like, we don't want to build that. I don't want it to be on my block. It's going to ruin the character of my neighborhood, you know, which is code for saying you're going to let too many Black and brown folks in my neighborhood.
Right. Absolutely.
And so, you know, there are a number of reasons why we don't have affordable housing. I think we need to elect people who have the political will and courage to say no to the things that need to be said no to, and to say yes to the things that need to be said yes to. And, you know, yeah, that's just a couple of things. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why, you know, we don't have affordable housing, but I'll leave it there.
Okay.
We're going to have our intern ask the question.
Yes.
Okay. Do you think the way affordable housing does their lottery system correct? Because I just saw an article for my class about privatization, and you guys have been talking about it. And that's one of the questions I'm going to ask in my class this week, actually, about it. Like, is this still a correct way to do it? Because, you know, I know people too who are putting for housing, and, you know, it seems like you wait forever. Or
I just filled out something in 2015.
Yeah, quite literally forever. Yeah, the housing lottery system. I mean, I think, to be honest with you, I think it's working exactly as it was designed to work, which is not for any of us. And it's not for the people with the greatest need, like I said. And so, you know, I think we definitely need a new system. You know, the city, the publication, The City, did a really great piece on the housing lottery system, and how literally it's the people who shouldn't be, you know, winning the lottery continue to win the lottery time and time again. And those, like I said, the people with the greatest need, the people who are living, you know, 2-3 families in one apartment because they have nowhere else to go, can't get an apartment. And that shouldn't be the case. Those are the people that should be prioritized, not the people who can afford to pay 100%, 120% area median income. And so, yeah, I mean, you know, like I said, all these systems, though, are working exactly as they were designed to work.
Talk about it. Yep.
That's, again, why I wrote this Black agenda. It's a 35-page policy platform that talks about from everything from education to housing to criminal justice to healthcare, all the ways in which we should and can be investing in Black people. And that includes dismantling so many of the systems that are currently, you know, our status quo. It's what we've always done and what we've always known. And I think we have to shake things up and be really radical in what we ask for, what we demand. And, you know, yeah, I think ultimately for me, listen, I always say, like, I'm unapologetically pro-Black, pro-queer, pro-justice, right? So I'm always going to talk about Black people. And that's just, for me, that is what it comes down to, is none of these systems were designed to lift us up. They were
Right.
all designed to hold us down, put us down and hold us back. And so, when you're talking about a housing lottery system, that was not designed by us.
Right.
It wasn't designed by us. And so, for us, by us, that's
FUBU.
Right. Right.
LL slipped that in with Gap, right? For us, by us. Yes, he did. Wow. Yeah. How do you feel about ranked choice voting? Because I know that's new. A lot of people are not familiar with it. As a candidate, how do you feel about it? And, just basically that, because I can't, well, you are a voter, right? So, but still you're a candidate. So do you see it working for you, against you, or what's your thoughts on ranked choice voting?
Ranked choice voting has been proven to work to the advantage of people who are not considered traditional candidates, which I'm not, right? Unless you're like an older, wealthy, straight white man, you're considered a non-traditional candidate. And so ranked choice voting, has been used in other municipalities for a very long time, where people who look like me have been, elected as representatives. And so I'm excited about ranked choice voting. I think ranked choice voting, will hopefully work to my benefit. I think there's also an element of, it's supposed to add an element of it's supposed to eliminate like negative campaigning. And it's supposed to encourage you, because if you're, for me as a candidate, as an example, right? If I know that people can rank me first, second, third, fourth, or fifth place, I'm talking to every voter. And I'm not, when somebody says that they're selecting maybe another candidate as their number one choice, I'm not going to tell them all the reasons why they shouldn't select that person as their number one choice. I'm going to tell them all the reasons why then they should put me as their number two choice.
Right.
Or their number three choice. And so, and like I said, my campaign is rooted in love. We're rooted in positivity. We're rooted in respect for other people. And, quite honestly, that's just not what I have seen or received from other folks in my race. And so, I'm not here to talk negatively about any other candidates. I'm here to talk positively about my own candidacy and what I'm bringing to the table and why I think I'll make the best council member for the 35th district.
Awesome. Yeah, because I know you can rank,
right?
yeah, you can rank up to 5, but also what happens if people, because some people don't want to, do the ranking, so they'll just go with their number one. So is that problematic? I mean, because that's a choice. You can vote, rank 5 or 1 or 3 or 4.
All 5 people, or you can rank one person. You can rank 3 people.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to do, I think the idea is that we're increasing, democracy, and we're giving people choices. So you no longer have to feel like you're choosing the lesser of two evils. Like, I really don't like this one, so I'm just going to have to go with that one, but I really don't like them either. This is an opportunity for you to say, listen, there are, like in my race, there are 9 candidates.
Okay.
You can pick 5. That's basically half of the candidates. So you say, this is the person somebody said it in we've done a couple of ranked choice voting trainings. Okay. And so somebody said it, you're going from stan to stand. So your number 1 is the person you stand for. And then your number 5 is the person you can stand.
Wow. Yeah, you use my name in there.
Right? Yeah.
I'm actually going to use that as a campaign slogan, but that works too. But go on.
Well, Stan, you're at the top, so you're good.
Cool. That's great.
But
wow. Okay.
That's the idea, is that you can pick up to 5 people. So if you have 9 people to choose from, and you already know, like, these 2 or 3 people are really, like, I would never want them to be my representative, you don't have to rank them. Right. And of the ones remaining, you can say, all right, let me pick my top 5. So I know that even if I end up with the 4th person or the 5th person that I selected, at least I selected them as my 4th or 5th, And so I think it just gives voters a much larger say in their representation.
Okay. And last, one more question. I'm sorry, Stan, I'm jumping into stuff, right?
Go ahead.
What is your educational background, may I ask?
So I went to Spelman College for my undergraduate degree, and then I went to George Washington University for graduate school, where I studied sports marketing, sports management, And like I said, then I, had a career in sports marketing and sports management for a long time.
Right.
So yeah.
Okay.
Well, I can kind of tell by your platform. Let me ask, what's your view on defunding the police? Are you in favor of defunding the police, or are you in favor of that term, or how would you describe that your policy when it comes to that?
Yeah, I'm all for defunding the NYPD, and this is what we were saying earlier, is that we need to invest in our communities. We need to invest in our youth. There are many other ways that we could be using our money, taxpayer money, other than, investing in the police. The police have boundless resources, and our communities do not. And so it's time that we change that. We need to reallocate those funds, pull them from the NYPD, and real meaningful funds, right? Not just a couple dollars here, a couple dollars there. We're talking about billions of dollars, at least $1 billion, that then we're investing in our communities. Last year at the start of the pandemic, the first program the mayor talked about cutting was the Summer Youth Employment Program, S2-EP. That's pretty much exclusively Black and brown young people who need jobs and
first job.
First job, and whose families rely on them having those jobs summer after summer. And that should never have been the first place that he looked to cut money from. That should have been the last place he looked to cut money from. And so, we cannot continue to invest in these, racist, punitive, carceral systems that just lock up for in many cases for nothing, when we're not really investing in, even with the pandemic and thinking about PPE and our public hospitals. Elmhurst Hospital in Queens, we saw time and time again how they didn't have PPE. They didn't have the resources they needed. Those doctors and nurses and everybody working in that hospital was working overtime. The line was wrapped around the hospital for people to get into the hospital, sick people. There's no reason why that should be the case. And then you have the police force out here with all kinds of helmets, bikes, pads, vests, branded everything, batons, there's just no
war.
They should be fully resourced, and our hospitals are under-resourced. There's just no reason why that should be the case. So yeah, I'm all about reallocating those funds.
Awesome. That's
My
good.
first job was for summer youth.
Yeah.
And if I didn't go to summer youth, I probably wouldn't be encouraged or determined the way I am right now to
Speak on it.
Exactly.
I always, since I was 14 years old, I always try to find a job. As soon as I hit 14, I went and got my working papers.
Yeah.
I did it too. I did it for 2 summers, and my sister was hoping my nephew would have got it last year, but cut.
I did it one time. I think I was either 14 or 15, but yeah.
I've done it quite a bit myself. It's how we get it started.
Yeah.
Look at all of you now. Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, right. Thank goodness for summer youth. Yeah.
I know in Bed-Stuy, the 88th precinct, when I was a kid, was known for a lot of police brutality. And I know they, I think the Black Lives Matter stormed the 88th precinct, during during that turbulence. So what are your thoughts on police brutality? As I know in Bed-Stuy historically, that's been an issue for myself as a kid growing up. I've seen it all my life. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think it's what we were talking about before. We need to hold police officers accountable. Police brutality should never be, that should never occur.
Exactly.
I say this all the time too, we know what keeps us safe. Our communities are what keep us safe. It's education that keeps us safe. It's access to quality healthcare that keeps us safe. It's jobs that keep us safe. It's safe housing, secure housing, affordable housing that keeps us safe. It's not the police that keep us safe. The police come in, if you really think about it, the police come in once the incident has occurred.
Yep.
Right.
Even if we're talking about violent crime.
Yes.
Right? The police come in once that violent crime has already occurred.
Yep.
That
murder, that rape, that assault. Yeah.
And usually it's our communities that help prevent, those things from happening. When you've got people who know who you are, your neighbors know you, you're looking out for one another. You see somebody doing wrong and you calling them out and you're saying, stop that. You're holding people accountable. or you're also giving people the resources that they need so that they don't feel like they have no other choice but to do X, Y, or Z, right? Like they have a job, they have money coming in, they could put food on the table. Those are the things that we should be investing in. And again, like those are the things that keep us safe, and it's us that keeps us safe. And so police brutality, there's no excuse for police brutality.
Exactly.
I think because we actually need more community police instead of the traditional police. I mean,
Yeah.
they seem to be more interested in being doing reactive policement instead of doing it proactive.
Right.
That we actually need.
So you're
Instead of
talking about like a safety patrol of the
Well, I
community,
mean,
community
because
safety
That's
patrol.
how it used to be.
policing is
Secure violence model.
Right,
Mm.
exactly.
I'm sure you're all familiar with, you know, and
They-
like those organizations are the organizations, they have been proven to keep communities safe. They've been proven to get guns off the street, and yet we're not investing in them at the rates that we should be investing in them. We keep investing in the NYPD, but these are like peace officers, you know,
Right.
known people in the community who, like I said, have been proven to pull guns off the street. They quell, you know, beefs. They go up to people. They're like, listen, I heard you about to, you know, go holler at this one or that one or whatever. Like, let's talk about it. You know, they have social workers, they have jobs, like all that stuff. And they come into these communities and they talk to people and they know the people that they're talking to. That's the problem too, is that so many of our officers, they don't know any of the people that they're interacting
Yeah.
with.
Yeah, growing up, we knew the neighborhood police officers. You know, we had one in McKinley houses. That's where I grew up at, and it was Terry with a Jerry curl. If any McKinley people are watching, they will remember. And Terry would walk through, and I don't know if Terry had somebody up in one of the buildings, but Terry would walk through, and you know, he was respected. And at the end of the day, if anybody would have came after him, the community would have backed him and helped him. And
Right.
that's what it's so it's like, and I know what you're saying. Who keeps us safe? We keep us safe, right? That's
Absolutely.
that chant we always say.
Absolutely.
We have a question from the chat. What are your thoughts on mayoral control over education? And that's from Kim Tyree.
Great question, Kim.
Yeah, that is a great question. I think we need control from the community, right? So like parents need to be involved. I think students need to be involved. And I think we need, you know, less mayoral control in the way that it has already, the way that it exists currently or today.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about kids going back to school during this pandemic?
I think we need to create school buildings that are as safe and, you know, secure as possible. And we also need to make sure that we are providing, like I said, it's all about resources and money and programs and all of that. And one thing I'll tell you is like, whenever they say there's not enough money or there's no more money left, there's always more money. So don't ever, don't ever believe that, because they'll find it for the things that they want, but never for the things that we need. And so, you know, for the school system, I think we need to make sure kids have access to every single resource they need. There should be nurses and mental health professionals and social workers in every single school. And we know we are far from that. You know, and so I think we need to get to a place where kids feel and parents feel safe sending their kids back to school, where teachers and principals and school administrators and all the school workers in the building all feel safe to be in the school. And I feel like there's been so much misinformation that it's been hard for people to really feel safe, or that they can trust the information that they're being fed. And so I think we need to get to the place where we're able to create, you know, safe environments in each of our school buildings. And I think for the parents or families who don't feel comfortable sending their kids back, then we're making sure that they have the resources they need. They have the devices and, you know, access to the school work and everything that they need. And if that means that they need, you know, daycare or childcare, so that parents can actually go to work and they don't have to worry about, you know, leaving their kid at home alone to go to remote school. I think that's been a huge problem too, is that, you know, kids who might be at home, who might be a little bit older, maybe they have younger siblings, they're left to do many different things including caring for their siblings, and you know, and getting themselves to remote school because their parent has to go to work, and maybe that's a single parent. And so we have to make sure that each and every one of our parents has exactly what it is they need so that their kid can continue to get the education that they deserve.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, you're right. So right. What is your thoughts on the, you know, the new jails, right? The billions of dollars towards new jails when public housing is crumbling and we have a homeless crisis and, you know, building jails. Shouldn't we be building more affordable housing? But what is your thoughts on the, what is it? I know at one time it was 8 billion, it might be 11 billion now, right?
It was 11 billion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember the exact monetary amount, but
Mhm.
I've always been against building the new jails. I think we do need to close Rikers. I don't think we need to build new jails. I think we need to really think about the type of justice system we want to have, and what justice really truly means, because the criminal justice system that we know is not does not bring justice to so many of us.
Right.
You know, and so I think we need to really think about the type of justice system, you know, we want and we need. I think, you know, for me, that means we're thinking about restorative justice, and we're
Mhm.
thinking about supporting people and surrounding people with the support that they need.
Right.
You know, we know, I mean, and I've been told this by people, you know, in prison who have said to me, you know, nobody wakes up, or I didn't wake up and just say, like, let me go commit a crime today.
Right.
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 Because all these circumstances,
Poverty, right? A lot of, yeah.
yeah,
The things.
Right.
yeah, all of that, that then I end up in a situation where I have no choice
Right.
to do this thing or to do that thing, or I got into trouble or whatever. And so, you know, I think we always talk about the end result,
Right.
but we rarely talk about the root cause or the root problem.
Right. No
So
preventive measures.
we need to start talking about why at the end of somebody's, you know, rope, do they commit this crime, or do they do this thing or do that thing? We need to talk about all the way over here. What are all of the things that led them to this point? You know, are their schools fully resourced? You know, do they have computer labs? Do they have air conditioning to learn in the summertime? You know, do their teachers look like them? And are they living in, you know, safe, secure, affordable housing that their family can remain in?
Right.
Are they being pushed out? Are they being evicted year after year? Are they moving?
Right.
You know, what are the environmental conditions that they're
Right.
exposed to? Are they living under a highway? You know, or do they have asthma? You know,
Right.
all of these things, everything has, you know, there's a cause and an effect.
Exactly.
And so we're not rooting out the causes, and just talking about the end effect, then we're not really getting to the issues that our communities face, you know, day in and day out.
Right. What is your thoughts on, because I know like well, I'm going into the state prisons. They did have colleges, they brought them back somewhat. So people were able to get educated, get college degrees.
Yep.
You have some inmates inside that are actually smarter than the COs, up and down, you know, they write their grievances, you know, they represent, you know, I mean, pretty much like for life, but you know, there's people that really happens, maybe not becoming a lawyer. So even on a lower level, like, so city jails, if they're there being held, and say someone needs a GED, do you, because I know my sister-in-law used to teach in the system a little bit as well. But what do you think about education for them? Because I mean, they learn a trade when they go upstate. They're building furniture. People are not familiar with core craft. They're building furniture, making sanitizer, making scrubs, doing all of these things. And when they come home, they can't take that skill, right, that they've learned, because they just don't make license plates in there. People think they do, but they don't. They can't take that skill set and get a job, but they should be able to do that as well. So this might be a two-part question, but you know, the skill set, how could we see that that's, you know, acknowledged, and as well as letting them get educated in there from, you know, college as well, not just a GED.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all for all of those opportunities. one of the prison that I visited when I was working in the public advocate's office was Eastern Correctional Facility. And I visited a room full of students who were students at Barred Prison Initiative and, getting their degrees. And that is a program I am a huge proponent of and advocate for and believer in. And I think that, everybody should have access to education and educational opportunities and also job opportunities. To your second point, one of the things I talk about a lot, and one of the ideas that I have, is to create a real pipeline, of jobs in city government. I think, again, like, city government is uniquely positioned to eradicate a lot of the issues that we keep talking about and the issues that are so prevalent in our communities. Government should be giving people who have some of the greatest barriers to employment job opportunities. Ultimately, I think those should also be union jobs. Black and brown people benefit the most from union jobs, and really, in particular, Black and brown women have the most to gain from being union members. And so, one of the things I would love to see happen is creating a real pipeline in city government that creates those opportunities, those employment opportunities for people like those who've been formerly incarcerated, Black trans women, like the people who just cannot get a job for a number of reasons,
Right.
And who people don't want to hire for a number of reasons. Those are the people that city government should be bringing into the fold.
Okay.
Now, you mentioned the school to prison pipeline. Are you for charter schools or public schools? What's your thought on charter schools?
I don't believe that I am in a position to tell parents where they should send their kids. And so, I think if our school system was educating our kids, I shouldn't say educating our kids. If our school system had the full resources that it should have, then I think you would probably see fewer parents going to the charter school system. And so, and I think we need to make our public school system whole. We need to make sure that all of our kids, particularly our kids of color, have access to a quality education. And like I said before, that their school buildings and school environments are safe and clean and free from hazards, that they have air conditioning in the summer, that they have computer labs, that they have textbooks.
Yeah.
There's so many, right? Like, we already know these stories, that there are schools that are under-resourced, underfunded.
No textbooks, copies, copies.
No computer labs, in Black and brown communities only. And you go into white neighborhoods and they have 2 computer labs and the fanciest this and the best that, and, extra textbooks, and, and that it just shouldn't be the case. And so, like I said, I'm not here to tell people, what they should do with their kids. But I do think we need to invest in our school system so that, all of our kids could be educated in our public school system without worry or concern.
Well, that's a follow-up question. So do you support a cap on the charter schools, putting a cap on them? Are you supportive of that?
Yeah, I think I need to look into that a little bit more before I commit. But yeah.
Okay. All right.
Okay. So we are at our hour a little bit. So we want to first and foremost thank you for coming on and joining us. Are you on Facebook?
I am, yes, Crystal PK.
Okay. If you can go into our page, and if you can answer some of the questions to the people in the public, because I couldn't, pull everything, and, engage with them on that, that would be great. So once again, thank you for coming on the show. And also, how can we, or people that are listening, donate to your campaign? Can you share your website? And I'll drop that into the chat and everything later, and we'll show it again because we didn't get to show it today.
Yeah, so my website is crystal4bk.com, crystalforbk.com. I'm actually good on fundraising for now. We've received the maximum amount of matching funds, which is
Go ahead,
something
give us some. Give us
that's
some.
great.
I'm really proud
Great.
that we were one of only 14 campaigns across the city to receive the maximum amount of matching funds at the earliest point possible.
Wow.
But we could always use volunteers and people who
Okay.
are willing to give some of their time. We have phone banks, text banks. We go out canvassing in the community, socially distanced and safe, of course. But there's a button on the top right of the page that says "Take Action." So you can click on that. You can sign up to receive our emails. You can sign up to volunteer with our campaign. You don't have to live in the district or even in New York to volunteer with us. So everybody and anybody could volunteer with us, and that's where we need the most support.
Okay, well, thanks again, once again, for coming on. We appreciate having you. It was a great dialogue. I'll be engaging with you, and just let us know after the June, what is it? When is the primary? June 22nd?
Yes.
Okay, so after that, and you get in, you could come, you're welcome to come back on the show and give us some updates on how your campaign is going. We'll love to bring you on again.
Yes.
Yeah, I look forward to that.
Not only we love you, I see everybody in the comments loved you as well.
Yeah. So if you just, like I said, if you can engage with the people, that would be great. So once again, thank you. And we'll definitely be in touch. We have a line of connection, and we will share your video on our platforms. Since we didn't air it during the show today. So, but I do have it. I just didn't get everything uploaded like we needed to. So I apologize for that, but we will be sharing it on the page. I'll make sure it goes out a few times on our page and our platforms.
Thank you.
So people could see it, because your video is phenomenal. It was touching. It was real, and like I said, when I discovered you, it was just like, oh, wow, we got to bring her on one night. I'm sorry, my voice is getting a little crackly. We had to bring you on one night. So thank you for coming on our platform, and we're glad that we were able to, just dialogue with you, and one night your followers can get to know you.
Yes, I appreciate the opportunity. The conversation was great. I look forward to another one after June 22nd. For sure.
Okay, that's right. As the Democrat nominee, right?
Yes, there you go.
Yes, you got this. Once again, thank you.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Okay. Take the music off. So next week, we do have a guest coming on. Let me just pull up my calendar to let you know who she is. Offhand, she's a city council candidate in Queens. I do recall that. Stan connected us with her. Can't find her name right now anyway, but we do have a city council candidate coming on next week. From, I believe it's in Queens, one of the districts. So she'll be on, and the Homes ISIS Coalition will be hosting our District 5 candidate forum on Wednesday from 6 to 8. So looking forward to that. And want to say any closing remarks, Stan, before we go?
I would just say, be sure to come out and support the rally Tuesday at 11 o'clock. I believe it's at 90 Church Street, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
And come on out, because whether you live in Nights or not, there's a fight for all of us. So
our
please
allies.
Support all our allies, all our friends.
Seeker will be there, because they definitely said they were coming out. They were emailing me and everything. So, yeah.
We got to show our power. There's strength in numbers. We got to show our power.
Organizers and activists and our allies. So, yeah. So we're about to lift off.
All right.
One night to one people.
One night to one people. All right.
One night to one people.
Good
we
job,
out.
Mike. Good job, Mike, on the boards.
We out. Now you can give us the beat.